you convinced Honolulu to come with you, and the four of you took the trip to Druvenlode and arrived. And let's see. These camera I can see everyone except for you, Julie.
Yeah, same.
Yep. Oh
Hmm.
no.
Oh, weird. But you can see me and Anna? Okay.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Discord just does not want you to see me. Oh, okay.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, you arrived at the old childhood home. Um, you saw Cassia and Taito. I think that was it. Just those two for now. But presumably, there's a full cavalcade of relatives to say hello to at some point.
Yes.
How many days is it till the wedding at this
I
point?
I don't remember. It was a week when you got the letter, which was the I think you opened the letter the day after you got back. Because you guys got back and then, like, went to sleep, and then you checked your mail the next morning.
That sounds correct, yeah. Yeah, and then we
And then
left
you s
the next two
I
2 days after?
I think it was 2 days. I think you spent a whole day in Rexentrum, like,
Yeah.
doing whatever, and then you left the day after that. So,
We traveled over 2 days because we split the
that's right, yeah.
travel.
So, like, 4 days? Something like that. Mm. Yeah, we'll say it's in about 4 days. We can adjust it slightly if we
Okay.
need to.
Yes.
Um, yeah. But yeah, I think it's you guys got here in like the afternoon or something, is what I remember. Yeah, and you said hello to Cassia and Taito. They're here, just hanging out. I think the you guys each have like bedrooms. You have your old bedrooms still. I think Atacora's has been like turned into a guest room essentially, and you didn't have a ton of personal stuff there that you didn't take with you to college. Um,
Yeah.
but Antoni's childhood bedroom is mostly intact. You have your shrine, your Percy DeRollo fangirl shrine. It's still there. Nobody has taken it down.
Yes.
Um, and then I think they have one free guest room with two beds that uh, Honolulu and Ophelia are welcome to share if they would like to stay in the house.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, do you agree? Did you agree to that? I think you did. I
Yeah.
think Ophelia agreed. Okay. So yeah, you guys they help everyone put all their luggage in your rooms and stuff. You're getting settled. I think it's just like basically two twin beds in there in
That's
the
good.
guest
At least
room.
there are two beds.
There are two beds. I think yeah, it's like the guest room for your cousins when they come over, something like that. But yeah, there's two beds. Honolulu doesn't say anything. She just puts her stuff away. Um, and then yeah, you can all kind of meet downstairs in the hallway. What would you like to do?
Well, I think I've been making fun of my dad for finally proposing.
Good.
So finally worked up the courage.
Well, it seemed like the correct amount of time. You know, your mother and I got married a little quickly.
Yeah. I don't really have anything funny to say to him. I was just like, I just
Yeah,
fed.
you're
I'm
teasing
poking him a
him.
bit.
Kasia's like, I said the same thing. I made fun of him for weeks afterwards. Well, are
I'm
you all
normal.
hungry? Do you want anything to eat or drink?
What time of day is it?
I don't know.
We
Um,
split up so that we'd have like one afternoon of traveling and then one like
mhm.
morning. So it's probably
Yeah,
around
I think it's
lunchtime
like
ish.
lunchtime, vaguely lunchtime. Yeah. You can have lunch here, you can go out and explore the city, whatever you want.
Not to sneeze.
Oh, and introduce us to your friends. I'm sorry, we're in a little I think you guys
I
told
don't
them
do that.
their names. I think they probably got the names, but
Right.
there was a
Mhm.
lot of, like, family greeting going on.
Yeah. I think I said names at the very
Yeah,
least.
no, I think
I
so.
have
We're
a
like,
vague memory of
tell us a little
because
more about your friends," says Kasia.
so I could be like, well, they can speak for themselves, but Ophelia won't. So
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the videos, I gotta check this. Okay, so Ophelia just kinda
yeah,
stands
so
there.
so I'm like, well, uh I give I was friends. I've been friends with Honolulu since college, and Ophelia is archivist at the Quibble cleric at the Quibble. What's your job? Is your job cleric?
I think so.
I get. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
cleric.
Yeah, because you're not an archivist. You
No.
No, she's cleric of
so
Ayun.
yeah, yeah. It's your job to do that thing you complain about every
Yeah.
time I get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. Okay, yeah, you get like hugs from both parents. You and Hannelore both do.
Yay.
Taito Taito's like kind of looking at Hannelore and like looking at you and is sort of
he got
giving
me.
you the like, is this your college
He got
girlfriend
the
look?
note about this.
That's right, okay.
He
He's like,
wasn't
I
supposed
rem
to ask the question.
yeah, he doesn't say anything, but he's kind of like, hmm. But yeah, he's just like, "Oh, yes, I remember hearing about you when my son was at school." All right, should we eat?
Let's eat.
Yes,
Okay.
we all say, as this will allow us to not speak.
Yeah.
This
Okay,
will
yes.
remind Ophelia why she agreed to come.
Oh yeah.
Yes, food, that's right. Okay. Yeah, you can go go into the kitchen, there's just kind of food around. I think they probably have, like, some part-time servants. I don't think anyone, like, lives here necessarily, but there's probably someone who, like, comes and cooks food at different points, but there's nobody in here right now. There's just, like, stuff around.
Stuff.
Yeah, just, like, I don't know. There's various things to eat.
Sandwiches it is.
Yeah, it's basically
Right.
sandwiches. I keep forgetting there's no refrigerators. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's like cold sandwiches." I'm like, "Why would they have that?" I don't know. So how was the trip?
Uneventful.
Good.
Uh, the most eventful thing was actually getting the invitations.
Yes, we saw your note. Casio laughs. I had no idea you had left town. I'm sorry.
Well, we didn't think there was going to be anything we'd be missing.
We should have let you know sooner.
Yeah, what was the timeline between the proposal and sending out invitations?
Um, let's see. They sent out the invitations while you were in Visayas Teal, so
We were
like
gone for a month.
you
So,
were gone for about a month, yeah. So it was like 2, 3 weeks before the wedding they sent out the invitations. Well, yes, he proposed. It was after the Harvest Close Festival, I think. Yes, it says Taito nods. There's it. I don't know. There's been a lot of other things going on.
oh
Oh,
boy.
anything anything interesting?
I mean, I don't know that you would find it very interesting. It's just guild politics and the usual. Oh, your cousin got engaged.
Oh, which one?
Nora.
Ah, yes.
She's the only one. I hope none of the other ones have gotten engaged. They're all a little young for that.
Yeah, well, you never know, I guess.
I suppose not. I think
Young by
Steffi has
whose
a
standards?
right, yeah. I think Steffi has a girlfriend, though. I haven't met her yet, but Meryl told me.
Hmm.
But I'm sure she'll want you to meet her.
Yeah, are they coming soon?
Oh, I don't know.
I suppose they have things to do, but
Yes, I don't know what the kids are doing. Meryl was here earlier, but she left. Steffi has a recital or something later today, so she went to that, but she was helping me with things earlier. I don't know. I'm sure they'll all come over at some point later today. Or you could go over there and say hello if you wanted.
oh, that's true. Well, I suppose everybody will be in and out over the next few
Yes,
days.
exactly. You'll see everyone. Don't worry about it. But yes, the preparations are I mean, Meryl's in charge of most of it. She's having fun, I think. Which is good because I do still have other responsibilities.
Yeah, I think Aunt Merrill always liked planning parties a little more than you two did anyway.
Absolutely. Yes. I know. When was the she looks at Taito. I don't think we really ever planned a party. It was always your grandmother when we lived when she was a little younger, or your aunt.
Is Meryl the reason you're having a public wedding at all?
No, I think we decided we'd better because otherwise everyone would be offended that they weren't invited. If we told everybody we'd gotten married, they'd, you know, it would cause a fuss. The guest list did get a little longer than I wanted it to, but couldn't be helped.
How
Anyway,
difficult
we're
was it to make sure that all of the people in the guilds who didn't like each other weren't sitting next to each other?
I'm still working on the seating chart, so I'll let you know how it goes.
We can have a puzzle game later on.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, one of those, like, logic puzzles where it's like, if so and so can't sit next to so and so,
Like
what
zoo
order do
logic,
they
but
have
for
to
wedding
be in?
guests.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, man.
Just
The
one way to get
wedding's
XP.
yeah, God, yeah. The wedding's going to be in the guild hall, which will be nice. A lot of space. The house won't be a mess. We're getting, caterers, so it's good. Mostly everything is already settled. We're going to have to do some decorating on the day of. Uh, I have to finish the seating chart. You all have clothes already, right?
Yes, we made sure to go
Zero.
shopping before we arrived.
Good. I'm sure the shopping is much better in Rexentrum.
Well, there's a lot of it. So if more is better, then there's
I
a
suppose.
lot. There's more.
Yeah. Well, this city's not exactly known for its fashion. I'm sure you had a more interesting variety to choose from in the capital. Taito asks Adakora, how is your mother? How are the relatives?
Good. I've been debating whether to tell him about Kalina, but Mom didn't tell me about Kalina even, so
She may not be ready for this, yeah.
like, she's good.
Mhm.
I think we also talked about this a little bit last session because I
Oh, that's
remember
yeah. No, you did, I think.
it's like, the same old Empire stuff.
Same old
You
Empire
know
stuff.
how Mom feels about the Empire.
I do. And you took Antimony to meet everyone. How was it?
Well, I thought it went well.
What did you think of them? My in-laws, my former in-laws.
Well, it was a little nerve-wracking at first, but everyone was pretty welcoming, so it's nice to see Visaeus Teal.
I'm glad you went. I probably should have taken you there myself earlier than this, but well, you grew up a little more quickly than I was expecting you to be honest. You were my first human child.
Oh my god. Imagining Fido, like, genuinely shocked.
He's like, "What is
No,
happening?"
really.
Yeah, Cassie's like, "This is my first my first child. You already had a kid. Like, why are you freaking out?" He's like, "She's growing so fast. I don't know what's happening.
Is this normal?
Is this supposed to happen?"
You're a 24-year-old adult.
Right.
This isn't normal at all.
24-year-olds are supposed to be like 10. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I don't really have family there myself anymore, but I always liked Melidor's family. They're a good group. They're very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give some more, how the
Yeah.
various family members are
Yeah.
doing, grandparents and cousins.
Sure, for
And
sure.
Eleni's baby, or Nefeli having her baby, and
Miss Valley's
all the
baby, yeah.
different.
Do you just kind of
but the pleasant news instead
yeah,
of
kind of
depressing news.
skate over the assassination attempt and all of that.
Yeah.
People who don't seem to have heard about it is kind of your impression. Or if Taito has heard
Yeah.
anything, he's not saying. So, okay. But yeah, you have a nice lunch of sandwiches and probably beer. I think everybody just drinks a lot of beer in the Zemni fields.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
way
they
that
don't have to worry about driving, so.
it's true. And I think it's the whole like medieval thing where like the beer is a little bit better for you than the water, maybe. Especially in Druvenland. I bet the water is like a little fucked up in this town.
Yeah.
Full of a little, like, mine dust and
Yeah, it's a little gross. They probably have a lot of like low alcohol beer and cider and stuff. That's like the more popular drink. Um, but yeah, you have a pleasant lunch full of small talk. Your parents seem like they're
Elia's
doing really
favorite.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, just having a good time.
They probably do at some point ask Ophelia and Hannelore about themselves. Just like, so tell me, what do you do at the Cobalt Soul, Ophelia?
Stuff. Things.
I gotta make you talk.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I.
Too late.
What did she do? I read
Wait,
a lot.
you study magic?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have a mentor for that. It's not really the same as wizardry and whatever antimony, whatever. And
Artificery.
yeah. um, I go on trips occasionally. For the soul when they want a little bit of maybe magical assistance.
And I hear you're the reason why Atacora has been going out and doing interesting things instead of just working in the library. Not that that isn't interesting. It sounds fascinating. This is Taito talking. I would definitely like to spend a day in that library.
I'm surprised Adakora hasn't invited you Because guests can go in.
They can, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't asked. One of these days I'll come and make you give me a tour.
Yeah, well, when that happens, you won't have been invited. That's not really how you roll.
No, I can visit my children anytime I want.
It's free real estate. God,
Yeah.
it is what kids are like.
Oh, I was gonna say something and I forgot.
But yeah, it's totally her
Yeah.
fault.
Good.
But to be fair, she's also saved our lives probably half a dozen times at this point, so it balances out.
And where are you from?
Uh,
I don't recognize your accent.
the coast. Mainly. I guess
Ah,
further south than closer to the border, I suppose. I think the coast goes that way.
the Menagerie Coast. It's like
It's like Florida, except further down.
not a peninsula.
But the sheep is there. Just a
It's
little
kind of shaped
dangly
like
bit.
California a little bit.
Oh, maybe. I'm not
Isn't it
American, I don't know.
Coast? It's like
I guess so. But there's stuff that's south. And
yeah.
that's where I
Like,
am
oh, we've never been to the
from.
Menagerie Coast. Sounds interesting. I don't think most
We've
people
never
in the
been to
Empire
Florida. We're
have.
thinking of retiring there.
Yeah, that's like if Florida was in another country with like sort of good diplomatic relations, but also sort of tense.
I mean, that's kind of what the South is anyway.
That's true, I suppose.
It's Texas for sure.
Yeah. The only difference is you don't have to worry about the borders to get into Texas. But yeah, they're like, oh yeah, Magic Coast, what's that like? You know,
Yeah,
they seem very interested.
that's nice. I'm happy for them. It's
They're
warm.
like, we're so glad Atticor is making more friends at his job.
Yeah. I don't know if he has a lot at his job. You have like me. Who are your other friends? Name them.
Torkel?
Oh my god.
Yes,
Ah, yes.
my BFF, Torkel.
Torkel's foster kittens?
Uh,
Reese?
Yeah.
Count him?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
I have lots of colleagues.
Right, you have a lot of like friendly acquaintances at work.
Yeah.
Well, at that work anyway. They're also very interested in Antimony's new job.
Oh, yes.
Your mom has like the whole like she's very very interested like genuinely, but the whole thing also has like an undercurrent of relief, you know. They're like, "Oh, our daughter dropped out of college, but like she's doing something now. It's fine. She's not just like living in a hotel."
She's got a job, thank God.
Thank God.
And you have
We were worried
benefits?
about her.
Great.
Yeah.
That's
We were
wonderful.
really concerned. They don't say that they were concerned, but you could kind of tell that they're relieved. And they ask Hannelore too what she does, and she gives them kind of the, oh, I grew up in Blumenthal. I met Adacora at the university. I work in the city records, just clerical work for the empire. And she just kind of gives them the spiel about her life. If only you knew what her real job was. Yeah, but you guys are kind of free to do whatever you want at this point.
Yeah, I feel like we better get them out of there before they start asking my dad what he does.
Yeah, this is your chance, Ophelia.
Oh,
Find
I
out
already
what
know.
books.
He writes
Yeah, but I don't want you to
books.
get details, so.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll just search for a room with many books and then infer from there.
Yeah, if you ask, Tito's like, do you want to see my library of all the books I've written? I have copies of all of them. He
Way
also
too
has like
easy.
he also has plenty of books that he hasn't written, but I think he has like a wall that's just like his books. Even the
Well,
ones
she
he
did
doesn't
that.
like, he has copies of them. Yeah, you
I
you would have to mention it though. If you bring it up, he'll be like, "I am happy to show you my collection."
I don't think she'd bring it up, which is her
Okay.
mistake, but for the future.
Yeah.
We're ready for it. Every moment I'm like, gotta run interference on my dad showing my friends his novels. God.
Oh yes, his smutty novels.
They're gonna be read eventually.
But yeah, they're like, yeah, okay, we're probably going to have. Hmm, maybe we'll just invite everyone over for dinner. Not everyone, but your aunt and your cousins over for dinner tonight. Does that sound all right? Says Cassia.
Sure. Yeah, I guess we we might as well get everybody over here at once, right?
Yes.
All right, we'll see how many people want to come over. Um, your
Just let us know what
grandparents
times
are.
we should be here and what times
Oh,
we should avoid being underfoot.
just come back around dinner time. I mean, you're welcome to be underfoot. I think we're going to be, once we start actually setting things up, it'll be at the guild hall, so you won't really be in our way. I've already made it through the dress fittings, thank gods. But yes, you can. We both have some work to do still, but you are welcome to hang around the house, run about the city, come back for dinner. There'll be some other people here, not sure exactly who. Your grandparents will be here. They are visiting a friend's just down the road. good for them to get out too every once in a while. They're like in their early 80s probably.
They've gone on a social call.
Hmm. Yep, they just ambled like 3 houses down to visit their friends.
They're like sitting out on the porch playing checkers,
Yep,
the way old people do.
exactly. Exactly. They're playing bridge. I don't know. They're playing sheep's head, like some complicated German card game. Um, God, yes, Semnians love sheep's head. I decided. Okay. Um, but yeah, you guys are free to do whatever you like.
I think it started raining.
Hmm?
I think it started raining.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Nice if it doesn't flood again.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
Taito, I think, goes back up to his office to work on whatever he was working on. Cassia, I think, goes out. She has to go do something somewhere at the guild house or at one of the mines or something. So,
Now that I've met both of your parents, that means I never have to introduce myself to anyone ever again. So, you know, don't expect it from me in the future because it's not happening. Not with your cousins or your grandparents or your pet goldfish. I no.
Are you arguing with me or antimony?
Both of you.
Just collectively, never again.
Yeah. Your pet rocks, I'm not talking to them.
any future
They'll
people we
be
meet on
very
our
hurt to
travels.
hear that.
Yeah. Well, they'll live with it.
Honolulu's just kind of sitting there looking generally amused.
Do you think they'll let
What should
us
we do?
do you think they'll let us explore a mine?
Do you want to?
Well, I kind of want to fuck something up, and it seems like a mine is a good place to do that. You know? We
Hmm.
could bring a pickaxe in.
Just break some rocks.
Yeah. Temporarily hired.
Well,
There's no way this can go wrong.
I mean, you could ask. I don't really feel like doing hard manual labor while I'm here, but if you need to take your frustrations out on the family system, then you know, might as well get some money from it.
I guess.
I wouldn't mind taking a walk around the city. Is there anything interesting from your childhood that you would like to show us?
Is there anything in the city? This is more of a question for you.
Right. Yeah, it's not like the most fun city necessarily. Um there's kind of this is like the nicer neighborhood, and then there's an area on the outskirts that's like where a lot of the smelting goes on. Like the air is just kind of a little worse over there, and people don't really live like in that area. And then there's the like poorer neighborhood, and then there's kind of the street in the center of town. I forgot the name of it. It's in the book. Let's see. Ooh, Silver Street. Hi. So yeah, the like downtown area is built around this long street called Silver Street, which has most
The
of like
casino.
yeah, it has a casino on each end,
Yeah.
and then it has like the more like higher end shops, I guess, in it. Um, that's where like the most interesting stores are, and that's where you can buy like that's where the food carts and shit are, like a a lot of the craft workshops are around too. But yeah, gambling is kind of the main thing that people do for fun in Trinidad. Gambling and in the two casinos in in the kind of poorer neighborhoods there's a lot of like music that goes on, just sort of like impromptu outdoor music, but that's like not something that people go see if they don't live around there. It's just kind of a popular activity. But yeah, Drufenlode, not the most touristy city around.
Unless you're a gambler.
Unless you're a gambler, yeah. But everything's a little dusty here. It's compared to like the nicer parts of Rexentrum, it's just a little bit like gloomier looking.
Mm.
And they don't really make an effort to attract tourists. Like that's not what the city is interested in particularly. But yeah, there's casinos, there's shops, and then there's like places that you hung out as a kid. I'm sure there's like a park somewhere that's one of the only parks in town. Once you get to the outskirts, there like starts to be some trees and things, but I don't think there's a whole lot of vegetation in the town itself.
Does everyone want to go out and see things or not? Because it's going to change what I say.
Yeah.
What are your options here?
Don't worry about it. I'm just waiting to see, like, if everyone's like, yeah, I'd walk out some.
I'm gonna open my window. Hang on.
Do you want people to go or just
Hey,
because
check
I
if the
don't?
blinds have blinds.
Either
I
is
was about
fine.
to do that. Yeah. Okay. Just want some fresh. I'm gonna go to the bedroom.
Okay. Oh, careful.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Here. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Honolulu's like, oh, I would like to go see the city. What do the rest of you say?
I mean, I'm down to give them a tour of this horrible town.
Yeah, we can go.
All right.
Okay. So you head out. It's a nice day. It's cold. It's getting pretty cold. There's no snow down here yet. But it's chilly. You got to wear your warm clothes, but it's probably like sunny and pretty nice out. What? Yeah, exactly. What did you guys do for fun as kids, do you think? Like, did you have places that you hung out in particular?
Hmm. I feel like Antimony being a weird child probably like maybe there's some kind of open area near where like all the smithing goes on and she would just like watch blacksmiths work and be like annoying.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, there are definitely little sections of the city where the different smiths workshops are kind of centered. There's a lot of blacksmithing. There's also a lot of gold and silver smithing that goes on in
Mhm.
Druvenlode because that's where most of those metals are mined in the Empire is around here. So yeah, lots of different kinds of metal creations. And yeah, they kind of tolerated you.
Yeah,
They were like, "Oh, it's that girl again."
this is like I feel like Antimony speaks Dwarvish. I have to check my proficiencies, but yes, she does. This is
Okay, yeah,
why.
that makes a lot of sense. Most people in Druvenlode speak at least some Dwarvish because there's a pretty significant Dwarven population here. Um, and yeah, you probably I don't think you were allowed to like run around in the mines because that is not safe for children.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there are probably open areas. Like the mines aren't right up against the city, really. They're like a little ways out usually. So there are probably kind of big open stretches where like carts go by and equipment is set up, and you probably ran around some of those when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like you played hide and seek in them and stuff. What? Oh my god. That's like a real Dungeons and Dragons plot is the thing. Like
Yeah.
like that could just be you could just make that into a D&D adventure. Oh
Someone
my
running for
god.
public office and they're like, part of my campaign promise is to clear out the vampire den.
Yeah, I'm gonna get those vampires out of the abandoned mines. We have been dealing with this for too long.
They hire the party to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Amazing. Um there's definitely like a school here that you went to. I feel like I don't have a good sense of how school works in the Dwendalian Empire, like pre-college school. But I feel like there's probably like a rich kid school, you know. Like you probably went to like private school-ish. Um but it's like the same school that your cousins went to. Just like I think you had kind of a smallish social circle because it's like all of the kids of the particular guild members that your parents know.
Yeah.
And there are multiple mining guilds who have some pretty serious rivalries in some cases. Um, and the kids probably, I think all the kids probably went to the same schools, but there was probably some like goofy, like replicating rivalries among the children, being like, oh, your parents are this guild. Like, I mean, these two both went to college. um, but yeah, you know, there were places you ran around. They're probably not like interesting places to go see necessarily. Or you may not think that they are now. Like, I don't know if you guys want to go hang out by the mines or what, but or like by the Smith workshops.
You should go heckle people for like old time's sake, just to see if they remember you. Don't they live for like a long time, most dwarves?
I think they live a
I
little
don't
bit
know.
longer than humans.
I don't
It's
know.
not as long as elves or gnomes, but they're I think longer than humans. Yeah.
They're probably still alive anyway, unless they died in tragic mine accidents, which is unfortunately pretty common. But, you know,
Not when you're a blacksmith.
I guess so.
That would be pretty weird.
The miners all died, so they had to go inside to get it themselves.
Oh God. No. Um.
You're like inventing a history of the city,
Yep.
Yeah.
and we're like, I don't remember that happening.
And Timmy, you probably had you like probably made friends with some of the Smiths' kids, just like hanging around.
Yeah.
And some of those kids are probably like working now in their parents' workshops, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
But like are have gone into the family business by now because you're all adults, which is weird.
Yes.
But yeah, where you guys want to come up with some fun places to take Hannelore and Ophelia.
Try to imagine what I did spend my time doing
Right?
in
Yeah.
that window.
I feel like that was a weird time for Edicora.
All these old people.
Old people, little kids who become adults very quickly. Like you saw all of Antimity's cousins grow up, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, and I imagine I did a lot of babysitting for them as well.
You
And now they're
got
adults.
roped in. Yeah, you got roped into some babysitting for sure. And you look exactly the
Yeah.
same. It's a little weird.
Yeah. Oh God. Did any of you had that thing where you had like a crush on your babysitter and then you got a little bit older and you were like, that's weird.
I don't think I
Like you
did.
realized it.
I didn't have a lot of babysitters though, because my mom stayed at
Mhm.
home for a while, so we were did not have as many babysitters. Or they were like my parents' friends who were their age. So
I just feel like that feeling would be so much weirder if your babysitter just didn't age.
right?
Ever.
Yeah, like you turn 20 and your
Okay.
babysitter still looks like they're like 25 maybe. And you're like,
Elves are not valid.
they're not.
No.
I think there are elves in Druvenlode. Some elves, not a ton.
Yeah, it's one of the more elf populated cities in the Empire.
Yeah, it's
Apart
like
from
9%
the elf
elves or
city.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is I think why we picked it. You're like,
Probably,
yeah, elves live
yeah,
here.
just some elves.
Yeah, right.
And I think you guys never like you probably had some friends growing up who were elves, but I don't know that you and Taito like integrated into the local elven community super well, probably because it's so different. Like
Yeah.
the elves in Bisayas Teal have mostly stayed in Bisayas Teal. They don't leave all that often, as you know. And the elf communities in other parts of the empire are just like from completely other places. They're not from Malaysmere. They come from wherever else. And a lot of
Yeah.
them have been living in the empire since before it was the empire. Or like their families have, not the individuals necessarily, but
Yeah. Well, I didn't learn Dwarvish because that's not in my proficiencies, but I did learn Zemnian. So I spent
that's
some
true.
time doing
Yep.
that.
You learned
Uh,
Zemnian.
yeah, I don't know. Where do you go for like target practice around here?
Oh man, I don't
Is there
know.
like a shooting range?
Just throw
They do that
rocks
kind
in
of
the
thing for
mines.
fun here?
I don't know if they do that kind of thing for fun. Sure, we'll say they do.
I mean, I bet there's some kind of shooting game in the casinos. There's that. I went to that's why I went to the
Oh my
casinos. I'm
god,
actually
yeah.
intimately acquainted with them.
Yeah, you got some like talking tos when they first realized you were going there, and you were like, "No, I'm just doing it for the target practice." And
There's
then
nothing
Taito
to
was
shoot
like,
at here.
"Yeah." I think
Impossible.
I think after that, Taito like went to the or he made Cassia do this. Like somebody in the family went to the Crown's Guard and was like, "Can my like teenage son practice here? Because he's just going to the casino."
God, that makes so much sense.
And the crown, yeah, the watchmaster probably knows someone, like Cassia knows someone who knows them or whatever. So she was probably like, "Can my teenage stepson please use your archery range so he doesn't gamble?" And they were like, "That's fine. He can come in on the off days." Like,
I'm just imagining myself like organizing like some high school marbles championship for money. So I'm like, I need more money so I could go to the casinos so I can practice.
yeah.
Listen.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, well, I could show you this casinos.
Were you a gambler? Says Honolora.
uh incidentally,
This is
it
the
was a
first I've heard about
byproduct.
it.
Well, there weren't really shooting ranges around here, and you can't exactly go out hunting, so it seemed like the easiest way.
So they have a shooting game in there.
Yep.
I should try it out.
All right, we can go to the casinos.
I did a little hunting back at the farm, you know. When I was growing up. Okay, did you have a preferred casino? There's two. I don't remember what they're called.
What are the differences between them?
I don't know.
I don't think I did. Honestly, I
let's
don't think I
find
did.
out.
What I think is that I went to both of them, like just trading their money between each other.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because
each one I was like, you are my favorite.
and you
I
were
like it here the most.
you were good at the archery game. So at some point they were like, "Okay, kid, you gotta leave." Like you would get kicked out if you stayed there for too long.
Yeah, then I just go down the street
And take all
with
your
my
winnings
winnings.
to the other casino. Yep. Okay, the casinos here, I'll just paste it in the chat. I think they're probably about the same. Like I think they just have different like decor. Um like this they you know, they cost the same. They have the same clientele essentially. They have similar games. But I think the Cabin of Fortune has a more like rustic, like Zemnian wooden hunting cabin architecture design. And that's the vibe inside. Which is kind of like it's not, yeah, like you said, there's not hunting around here. So it's kind of like an exotic like they probably have like fucking, I don't know, taxidermied animals in there and stuff. um and then the other one, the Sterling Satchel, is probably a little like fancier, but in, you know, in like a cheap way, just like fancy looking stuff, but it's all made of inexpensive material.
Yeah. Has anything like been touched or remodeled in the 20 years since I've lived here?
Not really.
Nothing
I mean,
has changed.
there are new mines, there are new, most of that stuff. That stuff is always kind of expanding, but it's not really in the center of town. The casinos look about the same. They've probably done some minor repairs, but the general vibe is the same. And Timothy, did you ever go to the casino as a kid,
I feel
like
like
on a dare or
probably
something?
probably not often, but I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like I've probably been inside at least once or so. Once or twice. Either to either on a dare or like to retrieve Adakora and tell him to come home.
Oh my god.
Let me raise you. I had to babysit you and come up with things to keep you entertained.
Oh my god.
That definitely happened. Oh my god. And Timony at
I
like
was like,
age
well,
8.
okay,
Yeah.
let's try this.
It's fun. It's basically like taking your little sister to the carnival.
Yeah,
Except not.
you can get a prize. It's money, but you can get more prizes with that.
Yep.
God.
Okay, anyway, so which casino would you like to go to today?
Go to the Cabin of Fortune
Okay.
because it's fun to say.
It is
I
fun
feel
to
like I
say.
walk in and I'm like, wow, smells like teenage debauchery in here. Looks
Yep.
exactly the same.
The taxidermy deer heads look a little rattier. They got a
That
new
happens.
bar, though. The bar table is newer, which is good because it was in bad shape when you were younger.
I definitely never did any drinking here because, first of all, they probably wouldn't let me.
I don't know what the drinking age is at that
I don't
in
know
the Empire.
either. I just feel
Yeah, they probably just eyeball people and are like, "You're too young."
I think he probably exuded young energy.
Yeah, they're like, "Look, we know you're an elf. You're probably like 80, but we're not serving you alcohol."
And I look slightly older now.
You do. You look a little older now. Yeah, you could not be mistaken for a teenager now these
No.
days. Not like when you were 60. But yeah, it's, you know, it's a casino.
Yeah.
There's people playing, I don't know, cards. They don't have slot machines because this is the Middle Ages. What other gambling is there? There's dice. There's some dice games, some card games.
I have like a roulette wheel.
Oh, absolutely a roulette wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are a couple of. They probably have like a dartboard too somewhere. But yeah, cards and dice probably the big ones, and roulette. And then there is like a weird little archery game. Rec room. Oh god. Oh no. For the teens. But yeah, you could do whatever you want in here. They have drinks, they have a bar.
It's like
probably
1
have-
p.m. maybe.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, it's probably like 1:30 right now. You guys are a little like people give you some looks kind of or just like, okay. Like you look a little out of place in your, I don't know, Cobalt Soul outfits, whatever you're wearing.
Oh boy, this is a question. Do I recognize any of like the dealers?
Yes, you do, I think. You recognize the bartender. It's the same guy. It's like the guy who works. He's like he looks at you for a second, he's like, it's been what, 15 years?
Yeah. How's it going?
Moved to the capital.
I still live there. But you know what? My dad decided to get married.
Ah, yes, I heard about that.
What's the news? How's it going?
Okay.
I'll stay behind. You come.
Who is this guy? He's a dwarf. His name is Sven.
Nice.
He's just a bartender. Is that reindeer? That's not Frozen guy, is it? His name's not Sven.
The reindeer's name is Sven.
Oh, that's right. I was like, the guy who loves reindeer? No, that's not his name. His name is Kristoff. Maybe Kristoff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I
haven't
made
seen
that joke
Frozen.
in the other arc because there was a Kristoff there.
Oh, there was a Hannelore has a brother named Kristoff. Yeah. Yep, he's just kind of a burly guy. You know, he's also sometimes he works the night shift as a bouncer. He's pretty big. But during the day he usually bartends. Things are about the same. I mean, there's a
Business
war.
good? Well,
Business is good. It's not affecting us much here, except that.
This is such an NPC conversation.
The demand for
well, there's a war.
Yeah, well, there's a war. The demand for weapons and things like that has gone up, and the demand for precious metals has gone down. So that's been interesting. It's, playing a little bit of havoc with the usual. I don't know. I don't really know what merchants talk about. I think it's causing them a little trouble. They come in here sometimes and complain about it. I don't really follow what they're saying. I just try to look sympathetic and pour them more drinks.
God, now I'm imagining like a whole reorganization of the hierarchy in Drivenload, where now that like weapons are important, suddenly like the blacksmiths are gaining in prominence, and then, like,
Yeah.
the goldsmiths are
The goldsmiths
losing.
are like not doing as well and they're pissed. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But business here is always good.
Glad to hear it.
Anyway, who are your friends?
Ophelia will not introduce herself again. I will introduce people. You remember Antimony? She was the small one.
Ah, I do. You were about this tall. He like puts his hand over the bar, and your head. It's like what your head didn't quite come up to the top of the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see over the bar now.
Good. That means we can serve you drinks.
Rule of thumb.
Yep. That's the rule for humans. It's different for dwarves,
Yeah.
but
With dwarves, it's like, how big is your beard, I guess.
how long is your beard? Yeah. Yep. So are you here to play, or are you just visiting your old haunts?
Yeah, well, I look at Hanalura because she suggested that she wanted to actually play something, so...
I heard there was an archery game. Sven laughs. Yes, that was his favorite. The owner used to kick him out after he won too many times.
What can I say? Comes natural.
Well, that one's, he like points over to where it is. Right over there if you're interested.
Sure. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's play the archery game.
Play the archery game. Okay, it's like, yeah, it's probably kind of shitty. Like the bow, you know, they're like not real good bows or anything. But
Yeah,
it's,
like, you mind if I restring the bow? I'm like,
you're like, I gotta let me
waxing it.
Yeah. No, there's a sign that's like may not bring outside bow or something. Like Adacor tried that once and they had to hang a sign because
Oh yeah. Oh god. I've signed it.
yeah. It's one of those signs where you're like, oh, somebody
That
tried this and that's
me.
why there's a rule.
They put that up because of me. They put that up because of me.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a person running it, I guess, just like who collects all the arrows and maintains everything. It's he's a gnome man. He looks young he's like in his 20s maybe, so older than that probably, but that's how he looks.
I imagine people don't last super long in that job.
Yeah, no, you don't recognize this guy.
Yeah. Just from what I remember, like making sure people are not still shooting arrows when you're trying to collect the arrows and start another round can be kind of a hassle.
Yeah. I think the employees like rotate this one probably, some of the casino employees, because nobody wants to do it every day. But yeah, this guy gives you, he's like, all right, how many? Homer's like, I'll go.
Okay.
Okay.
For old time's sake.
Sure. She kind of has this look on her face like, how much do I want to like throw this? Like I can't be too good at this game, otherwise it will be suspicious.
When it's Adacor's turn, I want to cast Bane on him.
I think you probably, it's like an individual thing probably. You put down some money and then you like win, like everyone who plays contributes to the amount, I don't know. And then you like win some from the house if you like hit a certain number of targets, or it depends on how well you hit. I didn't think about this ahead of time. Obviously. You just made this game up right now. So yeah, you get, we'll say you get three chances. You have to put down like, I don't know, the minimum bet is like 3 silver, say. And yeah, depending on where you hit, you can win that back or you can win slightly more. I'll say there's three rings on each target. So like the middle, the outer one, and it's like worth a different amount of money each time. Or you just miss and you get nothing. Okay. I guess who's proficient with like shitty toy bow. I'm gonna say.
Somehow you never think to add that proficiency to your character sheet, but
No. Okay, and I'm gonna roll with disadvantage because she's kind of trying to not do as well. So it doesn't look totally crazy. Jeez, she rolled 2 21s. So I think she hits in the center on the first one. Not like direct center, but in the middle circle.
Yay.
So smart and good at things. Okay, so first of all, can I tell if Bane is being cast on me?
You gotta make
or
a
has been cast
15
on me?
charisma.
You have to make a saving throw, yeah.
Okay.
So you would notice, yes.
Okay.
You're gonna fucking blow this. You're gonna suck so bad. That's me casting the spell.
You're gonna
just like talking quietly about how badly he's gonna do.
No, I'm just saying it to his face.
Okay.
You're bragging about casting a spell on me?
Yeah.
I rolled a nat 20.
Nice.
Whatever, you can still fail.
Okay. Yeah, Hanalora hit the, like, close to the edge of the middle section, and you hit, like, dead center in the middle.
Well, if that was just the charisma for the Bane, I haven't,
never mind. Oh, I thought that was your
actually
roll. Sorry.
rolled my...
No, that was your saving throw. Never mind. You're not Bane.
No. What am I adding to that?
Just use your short bow
Just a
modifier.
regular short bow bonus.
Yep.
Okay. That's cocked. Much worse.
Hell yeah.
15.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably the second ring.
Okay.
Yeah. So some money. Okay. Just roll 2 more of them. We'll just see what you get.
Not have my tray so far away from me because I can't see my dice. Okay. Dirty 20, and then that is a high number. 25.
Nice. She rolled a 7 on this one, so she completely misses on the second one. And it looks, to Adakora, it looks a little deliberate. Let's see. Oh man, and then okay, and then she gets a 15, so she hits the second ring.
Does it look deliberate to the audience?
Make an insight check. Does Ophelia know a lot about archery?
I don't know.
Okay. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know if you can
No.
tell. Okay.
3 plus, I don't know. What is it? Inside. So 10.
Yeah, you don't notice anything. It just looks like she fumbled it.
If I knew she intentionally missed, I would have just interpreted it as flirting anyway and judged her very hard.
Oh my god. She's
God.
just trying not to make Edicor feel bad.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Okay. Yeah. So you make a little money off of it. She probably breaks even.
And that's why they kicked me out.
Yeah, if you were like that every time.
Well, it's pretty different from trying to hit a moving target. Like a
No,
living target.
you had better practice than most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you have unfriended me
Yeah.
if I cast blindness on you?
Blindness.
Were you
I was-
considering that?
I
Oh my
mean, yeah.
Please don't ever do that to me. That would suck.
Yeah, but it would be funny.
Would it?
Depending. Yeah. I guess it would be impressive if you still hit it. Though then it's not moving. Still.
Like,
Oh, this target? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still not moving. Sorry. I'm trying to get comfort. Keep talking. Just ignore me.
yeah. I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, I don't think it would have been funnier than the discomfort, to be honest. But it's not like I can stop you.
That's true.
What were you trying to cast on me before?
Suck and be bad magic.
Thanks.
Is that the name of the spell?
No, it's Bane.
I probably don't know very much about Bane, except that I've seen her use it on basilisks and such.
I mean, it's pretty.
Like, I don't know, it does something bad.
Suck and be bad magic is a pretty good description, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone else want to try?
This is not my specialty, unfortunately.
You should do it so the casino feels better about Adokoro winning money. Because then they'll just get it back off you. Then they don't have to kick him out again.
The gnome is nodding. He's right.
Oh boy. Alright, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Okay. Okay, go for it. Are you proficient in any bows? Or
Good
short
question.
bow or long
Okay,
bow?
yeah, I'm proficient in simple weapons, so I think a short bow counts.
Yeah, that's a simple weapon. Okay,
Okay.
then yeah, you can add your proficiency bonus. and your dex.
Let's see. Okay.
I feel like the casinos will judge me if I cast be good at stuff magic. So I guess I won't bless
Yeah,
Antimony.
that's
That's
cheating for
definitely
sure.
true.
That's not allowed.
Okay, let's see. I have a crossbow in my arsenal, so I think it's like the same bonus as a short bow would be, so I'm just
It
gonna
would,
roll
yeah.
that.
It's the same stat.
Alright. Come on, D&D Beyond.
Is that being slow?
It is a little bit. I'm like, the anticipation is killing me. Oh, okay. I think it hit something. Okay.
What you
It
got?
looks like I rolled a 15 plus, oh yeah, okay, so plus 5. So it's a non-natural 20.
Nice. Okay, yeah, you hit the middle section. Not right in the center, but it's inside.
It's in there. I did it.
Nice.
You're amazing.
Okay, just roll 2 more. We'll see how you do.
Okay. God, the incredible slowness of this this fake dice.
Yeah, yours are real slow. Wow.
Okay, let's see. Number 2, we've got a 17.
Okay. Yeah, that's the second area, the second section. So still pretty good.
All right, and let's do one more. Oh, is that it? Oh, it rolled a 15 again. Okay, so it's another dirty 20.
All right, center. Yeah, you make a little bit of money off of that.
How
That wasn't
did
your
I
job,
manage this?
Antimony.
Honolulu's like
I'm sorry, I'm
clapping.
just too good.
The rest of us are unworthy.
Not bad.
I will take my little bow.
There's
All right,
only one
maybe.
person left to redeem this for the casino.
Yeah, but I've decided not to do it. So, you know.
The Cabin of Fortune needs a hero.
I don't think I'm proficient in stuff. Oh, I'm also proficient in simple
I think
weapons.
everyone's proficient in simple weapons.
I'm gonna personally take crossbow or short bow off the list. No, I'm just kidding. I guess I can aim. Okay. Oh, what was it?
It's your dex plus your proficiency.
$14.
Okay. That is. I'm like fully making this up on the spot. You hit just into the third section
And then 7 and 9.
total.
Yeah.
Those both miss.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't get much back. You definitely you get a little bit back, but you are you lose money on it.
Are you satisfied?
You're the hero the casino needed.
I feel like it. Though I think the casino still
Who
lost.
wants to play darts?
Sure. All right, we don't have to roll darts, but
It's mostly joking, but yeah,
Yeah.
we can play darts.
yeah, I think the darts board is just kind of there. I don't think it's a gambling thing if people could just play darts.
Mm-hmm.
So you mess around, you play some darts. Anyone want to do anything else in this casino? I don't have any other games.
No, they've seen the casino now.
Yep.
They know of my notoriety.
Where's the
Now we can go see Antimony's friends. Where's the what?
the fighting pit? If you're betting stuff, why isn't there a fighting pit here? What kind of hall is this?
Huh. How many fighting pits have you seen?
None. I just think there should be.
Insight.
I guess I can roll deception.
I was gonna say you've probably seen a fighting
Yeah.
pit on account of
I
your
only wrote
upbringing.
11.
Mine is
11 insight.
Did it fall on the
14
floor?
plus deception. Oh, plus minus 1, 13.
Okay. Yeah, you believe that Ophelia has never seen a fighting pit.
Just thinks there should be one.
I have never seen anyone
Well,
die in a fighting pit either, or lose any limbs.
that's very specific. I didn't even ask that.
Yeah, well, I'm just painting the scene, of an imaginary fighting pit.
Right. Well, if they have one, I did not guess the password correctly when I was a teenager. So,
Yeah, as far as you know, there are no fighting pits in Drubenload, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
you can come back later and try and guess again.
This is like a place where dreams go to die. Well, unless it's you three. For me, it's death.
What was your dream?
Yeah.
To have more money than I currently do.
The casino dream. The standard one.
You know, the casino dream. We've all had it.
Yeah.
All right. Want to see some craft workshops? What did you do? What was it Antimoney was talking about?
Oh yeah, I just
You know,
wandered
nerd stuff.
around and stared at smiths while
Mm-hmm.
they worked.
Yep.
Let's find one that you stared
Yeah.
at and let's all stare at him. Them.
Okay. Okay. Come up with a fun Smith NPC whose workshop you used to
His
hang
name is
around at.
Matt. He has like fluffy brown hair.
Okay.
It's just
Oh
Matt
my
Mercer, but as a
god.
dwarf.
Oh, I think that was a Matt Smith joke. Was it? Or did I miss it?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
It was a Matt
he's
Smith reference.
some
Okay.
doctor guy, right?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Doctor Who man.
Yeah.
It could be him, but a dwarf.
Matt Smith would a dwarf, yeah.
That's
Yeah, they
so
can
hard
be
to.
dwarf, human, elf, doesn't matter. This is someone I'm thinking this is someone with like a girl your age-ish who you like hung around with when you went
Mhm.
like this is a family you kind of got to know a little bit because they had a kid your age.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, let's make them dwarves for that Druvenload flavor.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, we'll say, what are they, Smith? Maybe they're like silversmiths or something. And it was
Sure.
fun to watch.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah, you go to let me get some names real quick.
Random generate a name.
I just go to behind the name. For the dwarves, I'm doing like Norwegian names
Yeah.
mostly. Okay, yeah, so you head into the part of town where most of the artisan workshops are. For it's mostly metalworking. There are obviously some other sort of goods because people need things that aren't made of metal,
Mhm.
but that's the majority of it, and that's all of the like really cool stuff that people are making. Like those are the things that Driven Load is famous for. Let's see. And yeah, there was a dwarven silversmithing family. It was a man and his daughter. They lived by themselves. And they probably have like a house, like the workshop is probably built like into the house, basically. Just finding a name. Um, okay. Okay, yeah, the adult the Smith's name is Magnus. And he is a widower with a young daughter who is about your age, Antimony. Her name is Osa.
Mhm.
And you used to hang around I mean, you used to hang around a lot of different workshops just to see a variety of things. But this was the one where you like kind of made friends with the people there. Um oh I already forgot. Okay. But yeah, you head over there, and in the outdoor section of the workshop. Oh my God! Stop it. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. You head over there. The same house is still there. There's the outdoor part of the workshop. And you see. You actually see Osa, who is a young adult now. And she is working on something. I don't know what it is.
It's something.
Yeah, but she's out in the in the kind of yard part of the workshop.
Yes. I will go
Yeah.
slip over and say hi.
Mhm. Yeah, it's got like a little fence around it. It's just yeah. She turns around. Antimony?
Yup.
I thought you went away to school or something.
I did for a while. But the parents are getting married, so
Oh, I heard. Everyone has heard that Cassia is getting married.
this is the gossip of the town.
It is. It is because it's a very funny story. I don't think that any of them know when the wedding is exactly, but or they're just surprised that you're back in your old haunts. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yep. Shocking. I feel like probably Taito's the only one who thinks it's soon because the elves here are used to living around people with shorter lifespans.
That's true, yeah.
So they're like, man, why did he wait that long? Doesn't he know she's human? Like, come on, man. What are you doing?
They're like, has he just gone through this whole relationship not realizing?
And all the humans are like, well, if Cassia wanted to be married, she'd be married. Like, she would tell him, you
Yeah.
know. They're like, it's whatever. Obviously, she is chill with this. Yeah, she kind of. I'm gonna say she was just chopping some wood to go put in the fire in the indoor part of the workshop. Um, and yeah, she puts her stuff down. She comes over and leans on the fence. So, did you? What were you studying? Magic?
Yeah, it turned out to not be exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm
Really?
kind of well, yeah, Rexentrum, they're sort of the big city and they're all their fancy magic. But
What? Just a bunch of snobs?
yeah, kinda. So I've been doing some, freelancing work.
Freelancing? As what?
Well, I sort of gesture to the to the associated. Um, with I guess we're still in kind of our Cobalt Soul clothes a little bit, probably.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like Ophelia usually is. I don't know about the other two of you, but
Mhm.
I'm probably wearing my regular robes or whatever, and then my
okay.
leather jacket that I have.
Yeah.
God, that's right. Oh my God. Um,
Yeah.
she kind of looks at. She's like, "That's your brother, right?"
Yep, still looks the same.
I forgot his name.
I gestured at Adakora, like,
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
How close are we all standing at the fence? Like,
Up to
or did
you.
Antimony go on ahead?
Yeah, did you kind of go up to the fence, Antimony?
Um, yeah, I think I probably did actually, so
Okay.
I will actually yell to Adakora, introduce yourself.
Okay.
From
Also
here?
waves at you.
I mean, you can come up if you want, but
For social distancing.
She's like,
yeah.
"Come over here."
I'll come over. Hi, Adakora.
That's what it was. And you're an elf.
Yep, last time I checked. Do I have any idea who this is?
I think you vaguely know who this is. Yeah. You
Okay.
probably met like maybe once when you had to come get Antimony once or
In the way
twice.
of like, yeah, like, oh, this is one of my little sister's friends.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. And she was probably a lot younger the last time you saw her. So, but you
Right. So like,
recognize the spot. You're like, this is one of the places that Antimony hung out to like watch this the silversmiths. And she had a friend here. Up to you if you remember her name or not.
I think I will.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Osa, isn't it?
that's right.
Good to see you again.
You look exactly the same.
I get that a lot.
I bet you do. Didn't you leave town too?
hmm Yep, I live in Rexentrum.
Mm. What about your friends?
They also live in
Live
Rexentrum.
they?
I think we are all allowed to walk over the fence, guys.
Paula probably followed you. Like if you came up to the fence, I think
Okay.
she also did. Yeah.
I guess I can go over.
So you staying in town long, Antimony?
Uh, well, I mean, the wedding's not for a few days, so I'll be here for a little while.
Well, we should get a drink.
Oh, for sure. How's the shop doing?
Good, it's good. Yeah, Dad's, I don't know, he's doing something in there. I'll go see. I'll go see if he's willing to be disturbed or not. But he'll be glad to see you. Sometimes he
Yeah.
asks me how you're doing, and I don't know.
I guess he just misses me hanging around, staring at his work, you know.
He did think it was very funny that you were that interested. Yeah, wait, here, I'm gonna go see if he's willing to come out here or if he's in the middle of something very delicate. You know how it is.
Right.
Um, but yeah, she goes back into the building briefly. Um, and yeah, she comes back out with a dwarven man who you recognize as Magnus. He looks a little older. There's a little more gray in his hair. They both have red hair, I think. I don't know, that's cute. Red hair is nice. But yeah, he's like wiping his hands off on a rag, whatever. He comes in. Antimony! How are you doing? He like comes and gives you a hug over the fence.
Over the fence, yes.
Yeah. He like slaps you on the back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've been good. I hear business is booming. What with
Well, people aren't quite as interested in the sort of things we make these days, but I'm sure it'll all straighten itself out eventually.
Yep. Yeah, we can hope, right?
Yeah, the blacksmiths are getting a little bit full of themselves, but
Mm.
it'll pass. But no, business is fine. We're not hurting for anything.
That's good. That's good. Um, let's see. Do I remember if like everybody in around here is invited to the wedding?
Probably not. Um, you you know, Kasia tried to keep the wedding kind of small. She didn't want to have a huge wedding.
Mhm.
She was like, "What if I invite just family and like close friends?" And then
Yeah.
Meryl was like, "You're gonna piss everyone off at the guild." So then it turned into slightly bigger than Kasia wanted it to be.
Mhm.
But it's mostly like either family members or friends or people she works with directly and doesn't want to offend.
Right. Yeah.
So probably not anyone around here.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Hmm. I guess out of realizing that it is kind of awkward to just have my friends here, I'll be like, "Oh, yes." And
Yeah.
you know, and introduce everybody. Like, you probably remember my brother a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, he came to get you for dinner a couple of times when you stay here too late.
Yep. My
That's me.
chauffeur.
Well, how's the
Professional
capital?
go-getter, as in go get your sister.
He laughs at that dad joke. Um, how's the capital treating you?
Oh, well, all the all the fancy bigwigs up in Rexentrum. But but there's a lot to see, so it's never boring, I'll say that.
Oh, I'm sure. They do good work up there, at least in our field.
Yes.
It's like I went to a silversmithing conference there once or something. Like
God, the trade
Osa,
secrets.
yeah, Osa like rolls her eyes. She's like, okay, Dad, we don't need to hear about your silversmithing conference. Well, it's good to see you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the wedding isn't for a few days, so I'm sure I'll be around.
You are welcome to come and watch us work whenever you like.
Just like old times.
You should see Osa. She's getting very good. She's in her journeyman, whatever that journeyman is. That the like middle
I think
phase?
yeah, yeah.
She's in that phase.
Oh.
Yep. She's a full guild member now, working on her master's projects.
Yeah, you'll have to show me something.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I've got some stuff I'm pretty proud of, she says. And you should show me, I don't know, Matt, what kind of magic have you been learning? Nobody knows anything about magic.
Yeah. Oh
They're
man,
just like, sounds cool.
yeah, I can show you some inventions. I've been I'm particularly proud of the cannon with legs.
What?
So I'll have to show you that one.
Please, I have to see that. I love the cannon with legs. God,
I love the cannon with legs.
love him. Um, all right. Let me know when you want to get a drink.
Yes. I will. I mean, what's your schedule around here? Are you in the shop every day?
Pretty much. We close up in the evenings usually,
All right.
once
Yeah.
it gets dark.
Okay. I'll stop by again.
All right. She like punches you on the arm a
Yeah.
little bit. She's pretty strong. She's got
Yeah.
like
I sort of like tilt
big
a little
muscles.
bit. My frail elven bones.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to do anything else in particular?
Hmm. Guess we could go to the park. It's kind of like when people come to Detroit to visit me, and I'm like, it's Detroit. There's not a ton for me to show you.
Oh man.
We don't have tourist attractions here.
Right. It's yeah, Druvenload is like the Detroit of uh
God, it really is.
except without the like abandoned buildings.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
it's like a yeah, it's
back
still
in the
like kind of a
heyday.
boom town. Yeah,
A
but
few
it's
fewer boarded up windows
yeah.
when you're walking past houses. Yeah.
Mhm. But like nothing, no tourist attractions really. Yeah, you can also we could skip ahead to dinner, whatever, family dinner.
Oh boy, yes.
How many cousins do
Yeah,
you
maybe
have?
we.
Oh boy. Let me think. I've got the three who are Meryl's kids,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah, that's those ones I put effort into. I like didn't really bother with the other ones much, but they exist. They're teens.
yep.
Are they all gonna be there tonight?
Uh, well, probably as many of them as can make it.
That's exciting. I love socializing and interacting with others and introducing myself.
Yeah, just like that. But then you like look them in the eye and shake their hands when you meet them. Totally convincing.
Yep.
And so I'm like, nice to meet you. I'm Ophelia. And then, bam, I'm an expert
Yeah. And here's the thing,
conversationalist.
if you don't wait to be introduced, then you can pass it off to someone else. Say, hey, I'm Ophelia. I'm here with Antimony. And then it's Antimony's turn to talk. It's something to consider.
That sounds like a lot of effort for something I personally don't care much about. But I'll keep it. Well, I guess I do care because I hate it.
Or you could just cast Bane on them and run away.
I don't think that'll make me any friends. Not that I want friends. But
Ophelia's not here to make friends.
yeah, I'm here to eat food and sleep in a different bed and maybe read a book and plot world domination.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys want to head back to the knock house?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I think the house that Antimony grew up in is kind of the biggest family house because it's the grandparents. I think they were the ones who probably like got prosperous. Casper and Hannah are their names, the elderly Knock grandparents. I think they probably like, built up their, they're not super rich or anything, but they were the ones who sort of built up their business and built this house. And it all, all their kids lived here and they probably had some extended family living here too. And Kasia was the one who inherited it, and they've just kept living here. The grandparents have. Um, and then Meryl and Hendrik both like moved out when they got married, basically. But this is kind of it's the biggest house. It's the center of family gatherings, basically. It's got kind of a huge dining room that can fit everyone. So, but yeah, you get back, and that's probably what's going on is like dinner prep.
Yep. I guess I'll kind of pop in, see if they need me to help with anything.
Sure. Oh man, I didn't make up names for enough people. Whoops. I should just have a list of ones that I like. Okay, so yeah, Kasia and your grandmother, and probably Taito is helping out, are like in the kitchen. They're there with Ingrid, who is like the cook, who comes over usually like once a day and just makes some food for you guys, especially when there's a large event.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Taito has kind of been dragged in to like carry stuff back and forth between the kitchen and the dining room. He's like putting everything on the table. And your grandmother is making, I don't know, cookies, something that she enjoys making,
hmm
just like her special grandma treats. But yeah, everyone waves to you. They're like, how will you get mobbed with hugs probably from Ingrid and your grandmother? And yeah, they will give you a task to do if you stick around. They're like, okay, go fold all those napkins and take them out into the dining room. And Cassia's like, yep, they're all coming over. So get ready.
Yep.
I think your Uncle Matthias might be late. He has some kind of meeting. I don't know the details, but they're all supposed to be here eventually. Did you have fun wandering around town?
Yeah, it was nice to see the old haunts.
You didn't take them to the casino, did you?
I glance at Adakora.
Are you
Oh, am I
here?
washing? Am I folding napkins too?
If you want to. I thought Antimony went in there by herself,
Oh,
but
Yeah, I'm not there to back you up. You can just
okay.
lie.
you can
Yeah, I'll
lie,
just be like,
yeah.
no, no.
Of course not. Why would I do that? She's like, okay, that's probably good. Not that this is the most exciting town for tourists, but I'm
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure your Cobalt Soul friends aren't very interested in gambling.
yeah, probably not.
Oh, I'm missing posts. I was looking at the family member list. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, but yeah, your grandma asks you a bunch of questions about your job, about your life. Are you dating anyone? That kind of thing.
Yes. I will answer them to the best of my ability.
And yeah, what's everyone else doing? What are you guys doing out wherever else you are in the living room?
Hmm.
Probably just sitting somewhere and pretending I don't exist.
Yeah, okay, so Adakora, Ophelia, and Honolulu are all like awkwardly sitting in like a little parlor together, just kind of not saying anything.
Well. Yeah, I mean, normally this is the time when I sneak off and call Hannah so I don't have to do
Right.
that.
She's right here.
I don't know. Maybe maybe we're teaching Ophelia Sheepshead.
Yes, absolutely. You can play
Got
that with
some
3
downtime.
people. Yep. He gets 3 or 5, something like that. Okay, we're teaching Ophelia a card game.
Okay. I love learning and knowledge and Ayun and books and cards. It's cards, right?
It's cards.
Okay.
Yes, it's just cards, nothing else. Yeah, if eventually you will be called into dinner. Although actually you probably see people start to arrive at the door because the room that you're in is kind of off the main hallway. So you hear knocks on the door
Mm-hmm.
as people start to arrive. Uh, Cassia will come over and open it if you guys don't. You don't have to answer the door.
Yeah, that would be a little bit. I don't live here anymore,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that would be a little weird.
But yeah, Cassia opens the door. Meryl and her 3 kids arrive. Let me give you a little description of them because I didn't send this information to Julie because you don't know these people yet.
No. I can guess though. There's cousin, 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 maybe other cousin, cousin, maybe aunt, and uncle,
There's only
and
4 people.
grandparents. There's grandparents too. I don't know, I'm
Yes,
just.
the grandparents are around.
Oh, they're already here?
Yeah, they're you just didn't like go far enough into the house to see
I see.
them. I think Grandpa Knock is like he's in the dining room like getting the wine glasses out. He's pouring brandy for everyone. Um but yeah, you see a woman in her 50s who is she looks a little bit like Cassia, but she's kind of more delicately built. Cassia's kind of jacked. Um she has paler blonde hair. Um but they both have like blue eyes and lots of freckles. She gives Cassia a big hug. And then the 3 younger people with her. There's a human woman. This is Nora. She's 25. Um, Atakora, you know that Nora is kind of the best child in the family. Like she's the one who lived up to every single expectation and like made it look very easy. And she was also what did Izzy? I think Izzy called her the obligatory snitch cousin
Yes.
when we were talking about the cousins.
Right. Oh God,
So
yeah.
she's only a year older than Antimony, so they were kind of like shoved together a lot um as
Right.
the two oldest cousins, and I think the next oldest is like a few years like yeah, Barrett is only 21, so he's a there were times when he was like significantly younger than you guys. Um but they did not get along. They had very different personalities. Nora found Antimony's antics very annoying and was always the first to tattle on her for doing whatever weird shit she was doing at any given time as a child. Um, she has dark hair, long, very straight dark hair. Slightly darker skin than her mom, but she also has some freckles. Um, and she just looks, very put together. Um, just wearing kind of like whatever the fashion is right now. And then there's a 21-year-old human. Barent von Dahlen is the middle child in this family. He's basically an archaeology nerd. He wants to go and he wants to work at the ruins near Pride's Call, which is where they found the beacon. I think not that any of you know that or know what a beacon is. But that's like the cool archaeological site in the Empire right now. And his parents are like, that's a little dangerous, right? Because there are some like weird things crawling up out of the ruins, or at least there are rumors about that. So they're like not sure they want him to go, but he's like dead set on it. So he's kind of the nerd child. And yeah, he's just like a tall, skinny kid with dark hair. And then the youngest is Steffi. She's 17. She has very curly hair and freckles. And she's like the weird arts kid. She plays a lot of instruments. She was the one with the music recital earlier today. But yeah, they all kind of come piling into the house. No, you didn't. I think it had already started by the time you
No.
finished eating lunch.
Okay.
Because that was why Meryl left just before you got there. She went to Steffi's recital. So yeah, you could see all these people piling in. Do you go and say hello?
Yeah,
Or
I
do
do.
you
I'm gonna be the annoying. Wow, you're all so old. You know.
Yeah.
Wow, look at
Oh, you're
you, little
so
Steffi.
big.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Steffi is like alarmingly tall now.
Wow, I can't throw you over my head anymore. It's good to see.
Yeah, you get a lot of surprised, delighted hugs.
Yay. Antimity's somewhere around here. I don't know what she went to do.
Oh, she's helping out in the kitchen, says Cassia. She's folding the napkins, I
Okay.
think. Very important chore. I should go back and help them. Anyway, why don't all of you just go sit down in the dining room?
We go. 'Cause I don't
Okay.
have a good reason to say no.
Okay, yeah, you go into the dining room. It's full of people, and Timothy's grandpa is there. Um, and then eventually, the youngest Knock sibling, Hendrik, arrives. Um, he has brown hair and a beard, and is a little bit younger than he's like in his late 40s. And he is with his wife Mina and their two children, uh, Sonder and Petra, who are 16 and 13 respectively. They're just kind of the younger kids. They're still at school, just hanging out, not deciding what they want to do with their lives yet. Eight forties is what I said. 840s. That's like the oldest elf. Yeah, just general. It's loud in here now. This is a loud family. Everyone is hugging everyone else. You know when you get to the grandparents' house and you have to hug all the cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, so who's excited to be legally related to me? Finally.
Steffi's like, that's right. Oh my gosh. You're my real
You
cousin
get no
now.
legal. You get no benefits from it whatsoever, but it will be on paper.
I really never thought they were going to do it.
No, that maybe the moon was right. He finally went for it.
I mean, I honestly thought if Aunt Cassia wanted to be married, she would have been married.
They move in mysterious ways, parents.
That's true. It must be fun going to your own parents' wedding.
It's been entertaining so far. We'll see what it's like. I've never done it before, so there's a first time.
Yep. Steffi runs off to find Antimony. You were just finishing folding the napkins and doing whatever other chore. They like roped you into something else, I'm sure, after that. They were like, here, sort out all the silverware. Make sure we have enough forks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steffi runs in and like gives you a giant hug. She's tall. She's probably taller than you now, which is weird.
Yeah. Yes. I will I will say hi, etc.
So good to see you. At least this wedding isn't going to be boring.
Yeah, I hear you had a recital today.
I did. Yeah, it was, just mostly for my parents' friends. It's hard to tell if they really appreciate it or not, but they seem to like it. I haven't decided which instrument Steffi plays, but there's more than one. She's like a little bit of a weird prodigy. She plays
Yes.
like 3 instruments. Yeah.
the 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 bard of the family. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, except she hasn't gotten into magic yet.
It's only a
Eventually.
matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. Yep. You learn multiple instruments and then you're all of a sudden you're casting spells.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just drags you back out into the dining room and makes you sit next to her.
Yes. I will, of course, have to say hello to everybody.
Oh yes, yeah. You can't sit down yet. You have to say hello to everyone.
Yes.
Oh, oh no, I'm yawning. Okay. Gotta write down all these NPCs I made up in this session. Okay. But yeah, you all sit down, you all eat. It's a little rowdy. Not rowdy, but everyone's like a loud talker in this family. Not
Hmm.
everyone, but enough of them are loud talkers that it's loud in here.
Is the food good enough for Ophelia?
Is it? It's very hearty. I think it's like stew, like beef stew with a lot of vegetables and bread
Okay.
and
Yeah.
butter. Okay,
You just had to say bread, and that was good enough
that's right.
for me.
Okay, yeah. And there's brandy and wine and cookies and beer, all sorts of stuff. Um, Steffi wants to know everything you've been doing.
Yes. I will, explain my cobalt soul stuff.
Give her like the slightly edited
Yeah,
versions of
right.
your adventures.
The
Like
parts with like the illegal parts edited out.
yeah, the illegal parts, the really scary parts, the parts where you almost died.
Yes.
This is why people become adventurers, because their adventurer cousins edit their stories, censor them. Like, yeah, it's great.
Oh man, yeah. You will never
It's perfectly
get
fine and
involved
normal.
in crimes against the Empire. Not a chance.
Now, how are we? You don't have to come up with a whole seating chart. But I am curious if we're seated like this has gotta be a fair sized table.
Yep.
And are we like mixed up, or like this is maybe a question for Julie, like are we sticking close to each other in the chaos? How is the table arranged generally?
I think you were pretty much allowed to sit wherever you wanted to. I think it's kind of like an oval shaped table. It's not like a rectangle. So you've got the grandparents on one end, you've got Cassia and Taito on the other end. It's kind of next to each other. And then everyone else is wherever they want to be, basically.
I'm sure the teens are clustered because that's what teens do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Steffi made sure to sit next to Antimony because she wanted to interrogate her. Nora is probably sitting like by the grandparents, I don't know, or by her mom.
As long as Ophelia sits next to someone she knows,
Okay.
then that's fine. But if you
That's
guys
easy to do.
abandon her,
Yeah.
she'll kill you.
The family is very they like assume that Ophelia and Hannelore want to sit next to you guys. So, so yeah, Antimony would Ophelia sit next to Atticora or Antimony given the choice?
Antimony looks like she's being interacted with the most right now. So maybe Atticora.
Okay. So yeah, Atticora is sitting between Hannelore and Ophelia. And I think Antimony, you're sitting between like your mom and Steffi. So
Where is my dad in relation to Ophelia?
I'd say he's next to her. That's fun.
Hell yeah.
It's like yeah,
Okay,
Taito,
I'm keeping an
Taito,
eye on that.
Cassia, Ophelia, Atticora, Hannelore, and then Cassia, Antimony, Steffi.
Are you like, you're like a writer, right?
Oh yes.
They haven't said a lot about what you write.
I imagine they haven't. They're a little embarrassed at me, I think. But honestly, it's my job to be embarrassing to my children.
That's not true. You
He's
took that on
kind
yourself.
of dad.
Is Atticora embarrassed right now?
Not yet.
Give it time, I suppose. Do
Yes, you'll
you?
never. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you make any money off of being embarrassing to your children?
No, but I do make a decent amount of money off the books. Some of them have been in circulation for a long time. So
Is he an elf? He is an elf, right? Or
Taito,
half
yes.
elf.
Taito's yeah, he's an elf. Fully. Um yes, I've been writing since I was I don't know, 150?
A
120?
young promising career for elves, I'm sure.
Yes, well, it was the things I was writing were not really popular in Bisayas Teal. I ended up mailing my manuscripts out to a publisher in Rexentrum, and they found them more entertaining. I started out writing, well, I wrote some children's books for Adacor when he was younger. I
What
went
were
through a
those about?
mystery. What was about? Oh, forest animals mostly.
I figured they might be.
He went through a phase. I'm sure you heard about this.
They've
I
heard
think so,
about
but
this.
you can say more.
She's heard about this.
I, you know, I love
He
hearing
loved to pretend
more.
to be animals. His grandmother. Well, you met his grandmother. She's a very powerful druid, and he used to ask her to turn into things.
Dad, she knows the story.
Did
All
you
right.
did you write books where he turned into animals?
I might have written a few books about a young elf boy who could turn into a bear. It's possible. I did that.
Did it get read to the child you inspired that was inspired by it?
Oh yes.
Did he request it several times? Sometimes in a row?
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean that's those mostly didn't get published, but I think I still have some of them somewhere.
Oh yeah?
Mhm. Probably upstairs. Anyway, I started mailing I was writing mysteries for a while. Then I moved on to romance, which is the one I've spent the most time with these years. I've had a lot of different pen names. Sometimes
Everybody everybody loves a good romance.
they do, even if they don't want to admit it always. God. Yikes. Um, I've had a lot of different pen names over the years because, well, most of my author personas were human, and, well, my publisher had to remind me that humans eventually get old and die.
I do love that story so
Once I killed off a pen name in the middle of a series, and then I pretended to be his son who was finishing the books. That was very interesting. I got a lot of fan letters complaining that I was not as good as my father. I do still have some of those.
Do you appreciate
Akora is kind of laughing too because I do love that story so
This
much.
is like a legit funny story, yeah.
Do you appreciate hate mail?
Oh, yes, I treasure it.
Do you like learn off of it, or do you just like stew in, the emotions?
Mostly it makes me laugh, to be honest. I think I have a folder upstairs of the best ones. Oh, man.
Do you keep genuine fan mail also, or is that just like less interesting?
Oh, of course I do. I only keep my favorite ones. I've gotten too much mail over the decades to keep all of it. But the nicest ones I also keep. So you won't find anything under my real name, but I don't know. What do you like to read? You're a scholar, aren't you? All you Cobalt Soul types.
Yes. Nowadays I read, I guess, mostly boring stuff, like autobiographies and normal biographies and stupid scrolls and, stuff like that.
Well, history can
Um,
be very interesting. I've used some historical settings for my books before.
um, I guess I'm into more mystery novels, I suppose.
I did write quite a few of those back in the day. You could borrow any of them that you want. You can have them. I can always get extra copies from the publisher if I want to.
Wow. Extra copies in the day of the age
I
where
know.
making books is very
Look, they
expensive.
have a romance novel bookstore in Rexentrum. It can't be that expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they must have invented the printing press already.
They have to have. Yeah.
I've
There's
been
no
thinking about
way.
this because I read a fanfic that was like, after a while, the printing press is. I was like, is it not? I feel like it has to be.
Yeah,
They
for the
got
fucking
pamphlets and shit.
yeah, for that bookstore to exist, they or not in Rexentrum, it's in Zadash, right? The
Yeah.
I forgot what it was. Chastity's Nook. For Chastity's Nook to exist, I think there needs to be a printing press.
The day that like a wizard or an artificer figures out how to mass produce spell scrolls, they're gonna be like they're gonna be the next, I don't know, Amazon person, extremely rich.
Yep.
I would be interested in that, certainly.
All right, you could come take a look upstairs at all the books if you want later on. Just see which looks interesting to you.
Okay. Adakora, do you have the bear book memorized? Did you when you were a child?
No comments.
It was one of those things where you couldn't read yet, but you could recite the whole book. I've known little kids like that. It's very cute.
Right.
You'd like pretend to read the book, but you just had it memorized.
Yeah. Oh man. Doing a God. I'm imagining it. It's so cute, which makes me so mad.
It's really
Like
cute.
reading it and then standing up and like making the bear noises.
Yep.
Like 3-year-old.
Yep.
That would have been
It's
so
cute.
cute. What the fuck?
It's really cute. You were all adorable children once.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't really want to make every relative talk to everybody, so say whatever you would like to whoever you would like to talk to. But yeah, you guys get all the typical questions from relatives you haven't seen in a long time. So that's fun. Or not.
Yeah, some things are the same, whether you're in Besace Steel or
Yep.
Driven Load.
It's true. Yeah, Hanalora is talking to whoever's sitting by her. Just she's just being kind of like normal and charming. She did, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. um,
It'd be really fun if we met a bunch of pirates and they were like, "So, what do your friends do?"
and she's giving everybody like the short version of the sort of fake backstory that you know at Akora. She doesn't mention uh her family in any great detail. Or anything in really great detail. It's kind of an abridged version, but and she's good at turning the conversation away from herself too. So
Mhm.
she can just talk about whatever.
Yeah. The art of telling people very little about yourself and making them feel like they know a lot.
Yes, she's
She's
got
very good
that
at that.
one down. Yeah. Yeah. Anything you guys want to do before dinner ends? Okay. Okay. So everyone is very full and sleepy by the time all the relatives leave. Your grandparents head off to bed because they're old and tired.
Do they still only
Yep.
need 4 hours, or are they human?
Everybody
Oh,
here
thank
is
God.
human except for Taito and
Adokora now?
Adakora. Yeah.
Good.
So it feels like finally some normal people
Yeah.
Yep.
to get 8 hours of sleep.
Finally some regular ass sleep schedules.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, Cassia probably goes to bed too. She's like, yeah, I got to get up early tomorrow. We're doing a safety inspection in the mine. One of the mines. Taito, I think one of the reasons Taito has has his own office is that he doesn't need that much sleep. So he'll sit in his office for
Oh,
like
sure.
an extra 4 hours to write and then he'll go to bed. But yeah,
God.
Cassia needs a separate room to just like sleep in because she spends a lot of time working. She needs her 8 hours. But yeah, you guys are kind of left alone in the house.
I will probably find a book and then go to bed and read it.
Okay. Do you want to look at Taito's books?
Yeah.
He's perfectly happy to show them to you.
Does he have to show me, or can I just like wander my way up to where maybe books are?
He'll show you where
Okay.
he has a wall. I think there's like other books around the house that are just like whatever assorted other books. But he has a bunch of shelves in his study that are like all the books he's ever written. He has like one
Ophelia, is
copy of everything he's ever published, and some stuff he never published. Like there's like a hand bound copy of the Bear book.
as he's like showing you out, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll show you whatever." Like Adakora like locks eyes with you and just
Okay. Yeah, he has a little mystery section. It's mostly romance. Some kind of straight historical fiction, with some romance in it, but not like a romance novel. Um, and
Does he have any
some
like
mysteries.
does he have any like steamy pirate novels that I can laugh at?
Um, there was a steamy pirate. Did he write that one? That's up to you guys, I guess. Whatever the steamy pirate novel was in Critical Role.
Oh, the Ford one?
No, the
Captain
one
Tusktooth.
because there was a sea themed one that Jester
That
bought, I
that
think,
was
but I
like the
don't remember what
Tusktooth
it was
one, right?
called.
Yeah. I don't.
The one with Oscar is not sea themed.
Yeah,
Tusk Love, yeah.
Oslo is
Oh
not sea
yeah, yeah.
themed, but there was a sea themed one.
I'm trying to remember. Courting of the Crick was one.
Yeah,
Tusk Love was one. What were the other smut novels they
there was
bought?
at least
What was
one other one. I'm just gonna look it up on the wiki. Let's see.
Scent of the Sea.
That sounds right.
Oh God. I don't
Shallow
know. Roll a die.
breaths.
Did he write that one? Just roll a d20. See.
Okay.
The Salty Sea.
What is it called? Oh my god. Books, here we go. List of in-universe books. Yeah, Scent of the Sea. Smut novel for sale at the Chastity Snook.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. I'm just looking at all of these. They're great. Oh, there's also one called The Salty Sea. That's the one that they bought in Nicodranus that Jester got. Okay, so let's say he wrote Scent of the Sea, but not The Salty Sea.
God.
Okay.
Yep, he'll hand you that one if you are interested, or
Yeah.
you see it on the shelf and you can pick it up.
I'll
There's also
select it.
mystery novels if you're interested in those. Um,
I guess I'll pick up one normal mystery book as well.
yeah, I don't know what he was writing mystery novels about, to be honest. There's at least there were a few that were set in Bisayas Teal. He kind of stopped writing about Bisayas Teal early on because he didn't want to like make it obvious that he was from there.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a handful of them. Like one of his early mystery series is about an elf investigating weird happenings in Bisayas Teal.
I imagine some of his early stuff is like very sketchy on geography, and then once he left to say Steele, it improved. But like the Shakespeare thing where he's like setting
yeah.
setting shipwreck stories on landlocked
Yep. He's like,
landlocked
yes,
cities.
these characters got shipwrecked and then they went to Zadash. Like,
Right. Then he left. He was like, okay, this persona is going to be a little better.
yeah.
This person actually knows what places are like.
Yeah. Um. Okay, I'm gonna say the courting of the crick is not in here. I don't think he wrote that one. But
Darn.
you do see a book called Tusk Love.
Wow.
Which is about
It
a
happened. The 18-month-long joke.
Yep. We did it. We did it, guys.
Wow.
Yep, it is about a human woman and a half-orc band who meet on the road to Druvenlode and fall in love. Yep.
I'm amazed and astounded. I probably will just stick to some sort of mystery novel
Okay.
and the 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 shitty coast one.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say that one's about pirates because that's fun.
Yay.
Scent of the Sea is about pirates. But yeah, it's very goofy. You can nitpick it a lot, which is probably fun.
As long as Hannah-Laura's not here, or not in the same room, they can probably hear her laughing at it.
Okay. Okay, so you go sit in the bedroom?
Yeah.
Or okay. Yeah, Honolulu will not go in there then. Yeah, she'll just leave you in there to read. Um what are you doing, Antimony?
Oh, I think I am probably in my old bedroom, scoping the place out,
Yep.
setting up all of my my stuff, my little lab.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah. This is the secret of our family's wealth. But yeah,
Yeah, what else what's in here besides the shrine?
besides my shrine,
What else did teen Antimony have in her bedroom?
let's see. I mean, there's definitely like various furniture in the way of like drawers and
Yes.
probably a desk or something. Um, I want to say beanbag chair. Um, I want to say she had like the medieval version of posters, you
Oh
know,
yeah, that sounds right. I feel like
wall scrolls or something.
Antimony would have posters.
Just like posters of, I don't know, whatever. Whatever popular novels there are in, in the Dwendalian Empire.
Alexandra's hottest boy
Mm,
bands.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep. You probably
The
have
most
some
popular
cool
minstrels.
Yeah. You have some cool looking like engineering plans up there.
Yeah, probably. Like
Yeah.
just sketches that I've just like
Mm-hmm.
tacked to the wall.
Yeah, diagrams of weird stuff.
Yes. And then of course the occasional scorch mark from
Yep,
experiments gone wrong.
absolutely.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Antimony is the kind of person who would have like an insanely detailed MC Escher poster.
Yes.
Yep. Just a
She
little
keeps it because it like makes Adakora dizzy to look at.
Yeah.
just a little surrealist art.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll probably set my stuff up in my old room,
Okay.
find a nice place for the crab.
There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
You probably have like some baskets and boxes full of like old stuff that you half built or that like melted and it's just still in
Yeah.
there. Or like little pieces that you collected and were going to do something with and never did.
Yeah. I feel like I'm probably just gonna go through those and be like, oh, this is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, you find some stuff, you're like, I could do something with this now.
Yes. Just like going through my jars of scrap metal and things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it really hasn't been messed with much, which, you know, sentimental parents.
That and they're also probably a little worried that it'll explode if they touch it.
That's also possible, yeah. They're like, we're gonna make Antimony clean this stuff out. Okay. With those two in their rooms, um, Hanalora is, I think, gonna come. If you're like still downstairs, she'll just sit downstairs with you.
Yeah, I don't have to go to bed yet.
That's true. So,
So that's everyone.
wow. I can understand why Ophelia got overwhelmed if your family in Visayas Steel is anything like this.
It's roughly equivalent in size, I guess.
Well, they're all very friendly.
They are. You doing all right with all the chaos?
Oh, yes. You know I've been in more chaotic situations than this.
Right, well, no knives coming at you in this house most of the time.
Most of the time.
Well, Antimony did invent um, tortoise with knife taped to it.
Oh no. Where did she get the tortoise?
It was just a turtle. Probably see turtle with knife.
Wow.
You know, the earliest Roomba.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It wasn't very effective. It was too slow.
Yeah, in that case, the knife was coming at you pretty slowly anyway, so
I think I could hold
there
my
was
own.
usually time to dodge.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, I guess.
What was it like growing up here? Was it lonely for you?
Eh, I guess it was it's kind of a blur, to be honest. Uh, seems like everything was happening really fast.
Is that just a side effect of being around humans?
Yeah, and having eventually having a baby sister.
I mean, obviously, I knew you were an adult almost when she was a baby, but it's weird to think about.
Yeah, and it's only been 20 something years since that happened, which is also weird. I don't know. It's good that Dad and Gazia found each other though, because we did not know how to manage a household when we moved here.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
It's good for other reasons too, but that's the part that I remember pretty distinctly. Suddenly you had to eat at a table again.
She seems great, Tasia.
She is.
So what are we going to do for the next 4 days?
Nothing if we don't want to. I don't think they really need our help that
Doesn't
much.
seem like
Maybe
it.
some decorating on the day, but
Well, yeah, hopefully they don't need help with much.
yeah, it is that rare thing, downtime.
Ah, yes, it's been a while. I don't really know what to do with myself, to be honest. There's no news about my problem.
That's good.
I think so. At this point, I think it is good. I talked to Emmerich a little bit the night we stayed at the inn.
Hmm.
He's in hiding, effectively, keeping his head down, which he's not good at. I mean, he's good at staying out of sight, but not from. I mean, the myriad have their way of finding people. He's not good at staying indoors and not going out and not doing anything, which is what he's been having to do. So,
Yeah, get that. Must be frustrating.
and of course they're watching him. If anybody finds him, the trust will know who to follow around. He was pretty surprised when I told him what I was doing.
Well, it's not every day, for sure. It beats sitting in a room and not doing anything, though.
That's true. Yeah, if nothing else, I can just watch your and Antimity's family. Just watch them interact.
It's like going to the theater.
It's a little like infiltration, except I don't have to do anything. I can just watch. I don't have any goals.
Is that boring for you?
No, it's kind of relaxing, actually.
Well, I can come up with more things for us to do, or at least places to hang out if the house gets a little too samey.
We'll see.
There might be a place that's fun to go.
I should find somewhere to practice. I might have to leave town for that.
I might know a spot.
Good.
It's not the casino.
Good. Ugh. It hurt me to miss. It really did.
I know. I
All right. I think I should go to sleep.
All right. We'll sleep well.
You too, when you get around to it.
Always.
Oh, I hope your friend doesn't mind sharing a room with me too much.
Oh, she'll cope.
I'll be very quiet.
Don't be too quiet. It's not good for her.
I think she's going to have to talk more than she wants to this trip.
That's true.
All
But
right.
that has never stopped me from needling her.
I can see that. Yeah, you two are pretty funny.
We have our routine.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Are you still awake, Ophelia? Just reading? This was like while you were reading, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. At some point, Hannelore comes in. She waves to you. She changes clothes, gets in bed.
I'll like wave back, but otherwise I don't perceive her. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't say anything. She just goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm tired. So we should probably stop. It's late for you
Okie
guys.
dokie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this will be a good place to stop anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.